Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Tuesday weather update recorded on May the 14th. We're tracking low pressure out of the Tasman Sea. It's the first time we've seen a low moving into New Zealand for a little while now, and it's going to deepen as it moves in, but it's surrounded by big high pressure to the east and another big high pressure out here over Australia. It's going to drive in this warm subtropical airflow for the next couple of days. It's already warming up. Not necessarily what you might call t-shirt weather everywhere, but still a mild airflow coming down, replacing the very cold airflow we had at the weekend. But that's the low itself, and it's drifting slowly towards the central part of the country, bringing a bit of patchy wet weather into the North Island and also some parts of the dry south. Here's how we look this evening, 6 o'clock Tuesday evening. You can see the rain out at sea here. That's where the low is, and plenty of cloud around, showers and patchy rain on the west coast. Let's animate the next 24 hours, and you can see that low pressure system crossing in here through central New Zealand, driving in that patchy wet weather. The mountains and the ranges really do break it all apart. So it's not necessarily pouring with rain all day everywhere. The front by 6 o'clock Wednesday pushing out to sea. This is a bigger picture of what I just showed you, but this one shows you 48 hours of animation, courtesy of our friends at the Weather Company. So this is where we are in the early hours of Wednesday morning. There is that low. Let's animate the next 48 hours. Crosses over New Zealand, moves away, and then as we go into the early hours of Friday morning here, but really across Thursday afternoon, high pressure from Australia starts to move into the north, and that northern placement drives in westerlies out of Tasmania into the South Island, curving up as a sou'wester as it gets to Auckland. So the cold change, or the front, I should say, the cold front, moving in with that low, not very strong, but it will drive in a little bit of wet weather, followed by high pressure, and then, of course, those westerlies back in the south. So this means temperatures aren't too bad. Look at the minimum temperatures on Wednesday morning. Double digits across the North Island, only getting down to about 9 is the coldest. That's not too bad. A few places might get down a few degrees lower than that, but it is not the -3s and 4s and 5s we were just seeing. Similar story in the South Island. Coastal areas around 5, 6, 9 from Invercargill all the way up to Westport, and inland areas around the 4-degree mark. Might go a couple of degrees lower than that, but generally speaking, not too bad. Warmest during the day, you can see double digits right across New Zealand, no longer in the single digits like we saw the other day. Focus on the numbers more than the place names, but you can really see into the teens, low teens for the lower South Island, up to 20 degrees for those in the north. Wednesday lunchtime, there is the low, 1,002 hectopascals. In it comes northerly winds. The rain, as I said, broken up by the mountains and ranges, so there'll be heavier falls on the north-facing side of the hills, and drier if you're over here in the east of both islands, and actually the south, really, of both islands. As we go into Thursday, there's the next cold front just brushing the lower South Island. It won't be major, but a little dusting of snow on the mountains, and then showers with a windy sou'wester following the cold front that you see there on Wednesday, moving away at lunchtime Thursday. So that's leaving us with that windy sou'wester. So let's have a look at the rainfall thanks to the Weather Company. And you can see it's moved a little bit from what we showed you yesterday. And just like I said, the low can move sort of a little further up or a little further down as it comes in. And then that makes all the difference because our mountains and ranges break up the rainfall. So you can see around the top of the South Island, we've got the chance of getting 30 to 50 millimetres. And in the North Island, similar totals, although slightly greater totals for some parts, maybe here around the eastern side of Bay of Plenty, Mount Ruapehu and Mount Taranaki. Those areas could be seeing 75 to 100 millimetres higher up, highest elevations in those hills and ranges. Otherwise, it is a mix of 10 to 25, 30 millimetres really coming in for the north, not very much there for South Canterbury. Here's Friday's setup, back to high pressure again, back to mild northwesterlies, but our friends over in Tasmania, they've got a cold front, a wintry one coming in, snow for them on the tops of the hills. On Saturday, that colder change goes up to Sydney and Canberra, but on the New Zealand side, low pressure is starting to form ahead of it, and actually a mild nor'wester. Not so mild for Southland, but mild for most other places. And then by Sunday, a new low is forming here on the back end of that, or ahead of that colder change. So the big southerly flow, that's it here, moving in now to the lower South Island as an east to southeasterly. You know what that feels like. And at the top of the country, subtropical nor'easters. And so take a look at this, the last map. Let's show you Monday. You might be surprised. So I wouldn't lock this in just yet. Looks kind of dramatic, but it's probably not too stormy in this setup because each area of low pressure kind of steals the energy off each other, and that reduces the maximum winds. But it is tapping into subtropical air. You can see the heavy rain lining up in this zone and a little bit more broken up elsewhere, and it drives in an easterly right across the country. So we're into a neutral weather pattern now. We're not in El Nino, we're not in La Nina. This is what it feels like in the middle. It's a variety of everything. So we get cold changes, subtropical winds, lows that look like this. It's messy and chaotic, so that's what we are expecting to see more of in our weather pattern in this part of the world over the coming months. So we'll have we'll continue the focus on Monday setup in our next video tomorrow, Wednesday. This could still change, so don't totally lock this in, but if you do need to track it, use our new app, use our website. The hourly data there, courtesy of the weather company, is updated every single hour. That is all from me. See you again tomorrow with our next update.